Like many of my projects, I got started on this one, and then partway through I said, maybe somebody might want to see this, I should make a video. But what I'm doing is I'm replacing this doorbell over here. And it's one of these wireless doorbells that sends out a radio signal into the house. The original doorbell, they ran the wiring down the column underneath the cement over there and into the house. And of course, when wiring gets wet for long periods of time, it can short, and that's what happened. It started blowing breakers and everything. It was serious. So we bought one of these wireless ones, and well, the battery on it's going bad all the time, and leave people standing outside calling us on their phones. So I'm going to convert this to a solar doorbell. So let's start taking things apart and look what's going on behind it. This is the box, and this is the remote part, and it's just stuck in here with a regular wall box faceplate. There we go. And we'll turn it around here, and you can see this is the thing we bought from the store. Wall plate, and then just an electrical box, and we'll take the electrical box off there and see what's going on behind it. This is what's going on behind the box. You can see the original house wiring. They just literally buried it in the cement. And here is a tube that I put in here because I had to do some cement work over here. It comes out over here. This is where the battery box and the circuit will be over here, and this is where the doorbell remote will remain. This hole down here is what happens when you measure carefully and then don't believe your own measurements, and you fudge, and then the hole comes out in the wrong place. Let's see, what else? Oh, here's this channel. This will be for the solar panel wire, and this is a bracket that my son printed for me on his 3D printer that we're going to mount the solar panel on. And that's it. So we need to go indoors and look at the do a close-up on the remote, the wireless remote, see what's going on inside that. This is the box that it came out of, and we'll get that out of the way, set it off to the side. This is the front plate, and on the back is just I've got this jerry-rigged in here, this wireless ringer. Here's the piece of paper I put in there to tell me how old the battery was, but that doesn't really help because the battery dies when the battery dies. And we'll take this wireless remote out of here and take a close-up look at it. Before I forget to show you, this is the indoor part, and this is the receiver. This is the transmitter that goes outdoors, and you just plug this into the wall, and when you push this, it sends a radio signal. This thing picks it up and it plays a chime. This is the transmitter, and this chip right here is what sends out a coded signal to the receiver to trigger the whole system. And this is the problem right here, is this battery. My understanding is this 23A was developed for film cameras, which tells you how old the design is. It's 12 volts, and they're getting harder to find. It's kind of getting expensive, and the ones I do find are often close to expiration. So yeah, this whole project is about replacing that battery with a system that's a lot more reliable. This is the big picture of our solar doorbell system. This is our solar panel. It comes down here to the controller, and we'll get a little more detail on the next slide. It charges lithium-ion or LiPo batteries. In my case, I use LiPo batteries. And then what happens is when we close this switch, it powers up the remote doorbell transmitter, and that sends a radio signal to the doorbell receiver. And notice that there's no power going to the doorbell transmitter until the switch is closed. So this is a huge power-saving feature, and that's one of the reasons we can get by on such little batteries and a very small solar panel. Okay, let's look at the next slide. This is a detailed photograph of what's going on here. Let's start over here. This is where the solar panel comes in. This is the plus and the minus. And what happens is that keeps these three batteries charged, 1, 2, 3. And when the switch is closed, the current comes from here and here. So you can see controller out minus, controller out plus. It flows through the transmitter and sends out our signal. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It's a rather simple system. This is the battery we're replacing, and yeah, there's a lot going on here to replace one little battery. But again, these are becoming more scarce, and this lasts for about a year. It's not very ecologically friendly, and well, when they go bad, we have people standing outside our house calling us saying, hey, I'm ringing the doorbell, nobody's answering because, hey, the battery died and there was no warning. So what's going to go on is this piece will go inside of the doorbell transmitter, and you can see the plus and minus. This end here, well, the red wire will go here to the positive, and the black wire will go to the black wire over here, the negative. And of course, these are the 3 small lithium cells, and this is the charge controller. So those are the inside electronic works. This is our battery replacement, and of course the wires come over here, and this will connect to our solar controller with the 3 lithium batteries, and this is the battery as it would have gone in here like that. We've got all the subcomponents ready to go. This will go back into that box with the cover we saw earlier. It's got the battery substitute in there with the wiring on it. We've got the solar panel with the wiring on it. We've got the battery box, which will go back behind where we saw the tube earlier, and it's got the 3 batteries in here. We've got the controller, and I've soldered 2 plugs on here. This plug will be attached to the, that is the solar panel, and this plug goes to the remote once that wiring is in place. I glued a retainer bar on here so that when the cover's in place, it will hold the batteries in, keep them from vibrating out over time. And that's pretty much it. Now we got to go install it. Here the doorbell ringer's back in place. You can see the wire goes back in there to that tube that we talked about earlier. Put that in there. And we have the solar panel set on here temporarily, although it's actually kind of tight right now. We'll put some acrylic caulking behind there to hold it in place. But there's that. And then back here is our wiring. You can see that. We're going to put our box back there, our battery box, and with the controller in it back there. And that's the next step. Here we can see the wiring comes in through the tube down here that we saw earlier. This is the solar wire. Comes up here, plugs into our controller. And out of the controller is our other color-coded wire that goes to the doorbell. We've got our 3 batteries. We need to put our cover in place, and that should be it for the battery box. So here we are, got it all in place, and you can see the solar panel. Put the acrylic around it so it's in place, and push the button, and I think you can hear that. Okay, well that's it for our solar-powered doorbell. I hope you found it useful and interesting in your home DIY projects.